glad to meet you. We just met a few minutes ago.
That's right.
We've exchanged some emails and things like that, and I've been following you for a couple of years, to be honest. So
Okay.
you're now the non-interim
That's
CEO of Christian Community Development Associates and sort of CCDA.
Yes.
And this is your first CCHF conference, right?
Yes, it is. I just got here yesterday.
Yeah.
But I think all of the activity started today.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the first one, heard about it, but I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so
it's a ton of energy.
So this is going to be fun to just sort of capture our first sort of conversation. But
Yes.
like I think CCDA is an organization that that CCHF people need to be involved with at some level and certainly know about. And so a couple of things that I'll just give you a little bit of my history with CCDA.
Okay.
So when they first hired me 17 years ago,
Okay.
CCHF was based, by the way, for those of y'all listening, we're enjoying the worship team who just arrived and are doing sound checks. So we won't be distracted.
Not at all. You get a soundtrack. This is
We may break out into praise.
the
but
soundtrack to a conversation.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, so 17 years ago, our offices used to be in, in the Lawndale area.
Is that right? Okay.
And CCHF had gotten this big federal grant, and we rented space from a building that Lawndale Church owned.
Okay.
And CCDA moved in and shared our space. And my first office at CCHF was literally, I could knock on the wall, and the guy that was on the other side of the wall was the CCDA guy. Like we shared staff and things like that. And so
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah. I'm just getting to know you, but like you're
Sure.
a North Carolina guy,
Yes.
but you got Texas. Like
So-
where are you now?
I live in Texas, just
Okay.
outside of San Antonio.
Okay.
About an hour in a small town called Kerrville.
Yeah, I know Kerrville.
Yes, so that's where me and my wife are. We've been there since 2019. But both of us were born and raised in North Carolina.
Yeah.
In fact, we were born in the same hospital, exactly 3 months apart to the day.
Wow.
And so I was born December 16th. She was born March 16th. And I told her I was her John the Baptist. I had to prepare the way, and because the one that was preferred was coming after me.
Yeah.
So she's the preferred one. But
I'm aware of what date today is. Like you got a birthday coming up on your wife here
I
pretty
do.
quick.
It's Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, you saw the email. I said I was leaving Saturday morning.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's a good excuse.
That's right. That's
Keep
right.
your wife happy. So y'all got kids?
No kids.
Yeah.
No kids. We've been
And-
married 20 years.
So how did you end up in Kerrville, Texas?
So my wife was offered a job opportunity in Kerrville, and I was in a good place where I could, transition work. And she said I could come along, so I did. So she took that opportunity, and we relocated.
Yeah.
We didn't, no kids or anything like that. Our parents are in good health. Family was doing well, so we figured if we're going to make a life change like this is a good opportunity to do it. The longer we wait, the more likely it is that something could pop up to keep us from doing it. So
Yeah.
just took the chance.
The
would imagine
three
so,
R's.
yeah.
The 3 R's being relocation,
Relocation, redistribution,
and reconciliation.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Quick test.
Yeah, that's right. Because if you fail that, I was going to say I want the real Lorenzo
That's
Watson.
right. You've got to know the 3 R's.
So a lot of people get upset nowadays, honestly, politics and the fragmentation of the Christian community.
Right.
There have been so many terms that have been politicized, and I think they're important terms. I'm not willing to give them up.
Yeah.
They need to be defined and explained, and we haven't done a great job of that as often as we should. But I'm doubling down on that now because I think all of those things are important. Relocation has been probably I would say it's been the most controversial, but probably redistribution has too, and because we're all believers. So reconciliation, yes, we need to be reconciled to God
In theory, right?
and one another.
Yes, yes,
And creation,
Yes.
and
yes.
so, and that gets really, that
Mhm.
gets into it. We're doing our best. Like, we're really trying to walk that out.
Yeah, yeah. So we're looking at the philosophy. We started this work. Was it, I guess, 2023? I guess maybe early last year is when we began to sit down more formally and look at the principles again, all 8 of them,
Yeah,
and really begin to talk about how the language fits today. So how do we retain the essence of what it means, but also evolve the language to fit where we are as an association? So, that's some of the work that the association has been up to.
Yeah.
I would say the last year or so.
yeah,
I was looking at those.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you usually have your conference in the fall.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, for our folks that have never been to a CCDA conference, probably most of them haven't been. Kind of tell us a little bit about what your conference is like.
Yes, it is similar to this one. It's a homecoming. It's a family reunion that lasts from typically a Wednesday night to a Saturday afternoon. It's an opportunity to gather with folks and do workshops during the day. We've really tried to emphasize value for the person that's taking time out of their neighborhood, paying the money to come travel. We have consulting opportunities where you can sit down with someone and talk one-on-one for about 30 minutes, 30 minutes or so about things that are happening in your neighborhood and get some really and some valuable feedback. We have the networking spaces where you can meet with folks around specific issues, topics that you may have interest in. The workshops are always, the plenaries are always a ton of fun, great worship, good music like we have right now in the background.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like worship to me, but
yeah, a little bit of jazz.
Let's talk a little bit about musicians and their need to do sound checks that seem to go on and on forever and include everything from the themes from The Wizard of Oz to really good jazz.
I heard The Wizard of Oz. I was like, oh wow, yeah. But it's a great time.
Yeah.
And so, like what I was saying, we're packing it with value, so that when you walk away, you're just thinking, man, I just have a ton of practical tools that I can now use back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does do y'all have a healthcare piece or a healthcare component or a community health component to what you guys are doing at the conference? Like, where would our folks fit?
We have a number of healthcare providers who are a part of our membership base. And so within our workshop tracks, there are opportunities to delve into that topic specifically. And then even within our networking space, that's another opportunity to be able to meet with folks. So yes, if you were to come to a conference, there would be a ton of opportunity to connect with other healthcare providers and have specific conversations around that. And of course, conversations around the general health of our neighborhoods and the care of the earth. Those things are often addressed from the stage and through panels and speakers. And, we've done that over the years as well.
Yeah. I think our folks across the CCHF community would probably be very happy to provide some workshops. We've been doing this for 45 years, and
Excellent.
The CCHF community is, you've got, Lawndale pretty well.
Yes.
They're a big, giant,
Yes.
organization with 750 employees. We've got organizations that are, that have one part-time employee and they're working out of a community center or out of a church basement or something like that to just do something.
Yeah.
And so, our tagline is living out the gospel through healthcare among people experiencing poverty and people who are marginalized. So, if we can be helpful, we want to be helpful. Tell me, from your perspective, what would you like for
Sure.
our partnership, like, between
What
CCHF
could it
and
look like?
CCDA?
Yes, I mean, if we're speaking specifically around the national conference, we've begun to lay some infrastructure that I think would facilitate some really cool opportunities. Namely, we've built up our pre-conference space, and that's an opportunity for some of our partners to do some industry-specific training before folks go into the larger conference happenings. And so you can think of a day of intense training, and then that transitions into some custom workshop opportunities throughout the week. Could be a really cool thing to envision and talk about.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we've already begun to lay the groundwork for. It could be a good opportunity. And then outside of that, throughout the year, we've developed a ton of affinity groups and local networks. And within our local networks, those are regionally based. I'm sure there are healthcare providers in those spaces who would love to be connected to a larger network of folks who have the same philosophical approach to healthcare.
Yeah.
And so connecting some of your educational materials to those groups as well could be a great connection point. And then the affinity networks, we probably maybe in the future could talk about even having one that's dedicated to health, to the health field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'd be great. And I honestly, you guys as an organization, membership is way, way, way bigger than CCHF. We're a very small sliver. We're not unhappy about that, to be honest with you. But I think in most of the cities, in particular urban areas, there's probably a strong CCDA network. And I think it would be good for our folks to know that there is a group of people who may not be involved in healthcare, but they're definitely involved in the justice aspect of the gospel, and without losing the personal transformation aspect of the gospel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that there are people who are walking in the same values, who are working in the same communities, and who are doing it to try to bring honor to Christ and motivated by the hope of the kingdom.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I absolutely. There are so many interconnecting pieces.
Yeah.
I think part of the beauty of what we're trying to do with the conference and some of our other partnerships and connections is to facilitate these inter-industry dialogues around topics that impact those who are marginalized, right? Because there's no silver bullet. It's going to take all of us, being at the table, staying at the table, to figure out how to change systems so that they become more equitable. Healthcare is certainly a part of that.
Yeah.
Our local churches are a part of that. Our faith-based nonprofits, community centers, and that's, for me, walking the halls of the CCDA conference is the beauty of that experience, because you have, people from all over, various backgrounds, all talking about how to change the world to make it more equitable across the board. And yes, if you want to be a part of that conversation, then the CCDA National Conference is the place for you, regardless of industry.
Well, I want to encourage our folks to check you guys out if they haven't ever done it before, or if it's been a long time, to maybe consider reconnecting. I know CCDA, to be honest with you, we used to have this really close relationship.
Yeah.
We went through, for whatever reason, kind of a fuzzy time where there was just kind of a disconnect. I've been always jealous to see CCDA recapture that real commitment to the gospel, real commitment to being clearer about what things are, and I feel like y'all have done that. I mean, everything I hear is good, And so I want to encourage you in that. I hear
you.
nothing but good things about your leadership, about what's going on in CCDA, and I want to encourage our folks to look into it. So
Yes.
we're not going to fight the music anymore. I appreciate. I'm sorry this was a humorous, funny time to try to do a podcast, but
well, I hope they enjoyed the soundtrack.
yeah, right. Hey, thanks so much, Lorenzo. Appreciate it.
Yeah.